So we're going to talk about Dragon Age Origins.
We are. You actually just started. That was the first thing people heard.
Hey, cool. It's a good game.
I like it. I got to be honest with you guys, and I don't know if you feel this way, but I actually kind of feel like retroactively don't enjoy it as much because of Mass Effect 2. I don't want to turn this into a Mass Effect 2 discussion, but...
Sure, but I think about it this way. Like, I love Dragon Age, and I don't love it any less. It's just that I love Mass Effect 2 a lot more.
That's fair.
Do you think that's fair? I mean, I think at the time when I was playing Dragon Age, and we talked about this in a previous show, there were points where I would change my decision because I didn't want to upset someone who does not exist.
Yeah, I did it a lot. Especially
right?
At
I mean, I felt bad because the character's just so fleshed out.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing, though. I changed decisions so that I didn't upset myself, and I exist. So,
do you?
Yeah. Well, depending on which philosopher you read, I do or do not. But so we got an email from somebody. Did you guys read that email about the guy who was like, I hated Dragon Age and I hated Mass Effect 1. Well, I like Mass Effect 2. And I was just like, well, you don't like anything, so...
Yeah, we politely addressed him and explained why
he was wrong.
He felt that way.
I'll take what you said a step further about not liking Dragon Age since playing Mass Effect 2, is that Mass Effect 2 sort of sullied my opinion on all BioWare games, because I felt like you had to
all
make
games. How about that?
Just all video games ever made in history. No, because BioWare games are typically, the combat has never really appealed to me. It always felt very slow, and I thought that's just something I had to suffer through in order to make it through to get to the good dialogue.
Right, like in BioWare, like in Dragon Age, I very much feel like I put the game to casual, so I didn't have to deal with the combat so much, and like I felt like the combat was exactly that. It was something I had to deal with, I had to put up with in order to get to what is really good about that game. And there's a lot that's really, really good about it. But
to be fair, though, we all played it on console, right? We all played it on
console. Yes,
I played it on PS3. You guys, I guess, all played it on 360. I think that the type of combat that they had built that was very hotbar centric would work a lot better on PC, and we could have handled the combat a lot better. Wouldn't have to switch to casual. I did the same thing.
But at the same time, I really enjoyed the combat. I stuck on normal throughout the whole game because I like the sort of. I was just giving context, you jerk.
So important.
But I enjoy playing sort of almost the metagame, like how do I use all these tools that I have and build a machine, like put all the cogs in the right places so that, I can just walk into a room and my party will take care of everything.
You know what tool I used when I did it? I set it to casual. That was the tool I used.
Oh, well, I'm sure that's fine. I'm not going to judge you based on that, you pitiful weakling.
Oh.
So Dragon Age, though, Landsmeet. Let's talk about Landsmeet. I want to tell you guys the decision I made and why it was so hard on me. Emotionally.
How does it start, though? Did you have political support? Like, just give us some background here.
I had support of just about everybody. I did all the side quests. So there's all these like different groups, all these different the bands, which are the different leaders of the different regions. So I had like support of all these different bands because I went and did like these little side quests for them. I did just about every quest in the entire game with the exception of the DLC, except for Stone Prisoner, and maybe about half of the different boards. I did all the Chantry boards. I did all the concerned persons boards, and I only did about half the mages boards and half the Blackstone boards. But everything else I did. So I had a lot of their support. But I went in and I was trying to angle it. I felt very conniving. I had a plan for how I wanted it to work out, and Landsmeet gives you this kind of open-ended opportunity where it's not, like a lot of Dragon Age, it's not binary. You don't go in and come out the other end with like one of two different scenarios. So there's a bunch of different ways it could play out. So the first time I went in, I wanted to get Logain on my team because I knew that there's the big spoiler, people. Logain, you can join your team. I want to get Logain on my team because for two reasons. One, it was a new character that I could have new dialogues with. Like, I really liked exhausting all the different things to talk to the different characters about. So when I found out I could get him, I was like, this will be fascinating. Like, I want to talk to him about why he's such a jerk. And I thought that would be really fun. So I tried to get him on my team by putting Alistair on the throne. I thought that Alistair and what's her face? Enora? Is that her name?
Sure.
Would get married.
Ileana?
Yeah.
Or no,
it's Enora.
the queen.
The queen.
Yeah, Nora's the queen.
Enora. So I thought that they would get married, and that Alistair would stay as king, and then I would get Loghain. Like that was kind of the way I was trying to play it off. And what ended up happening was, he became king, decided to stay with us, and no matter what I said, even if I said don't kill Loghain, he chops Loghain's head off. And so, like, no matter what you do, if Alistair becomes king, Loghain dies, and you can't have him on your party. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to try to get Loghain on my party, then we'll work backwards and see what happens to Alistair. Maybe he'll take king after that, and then they'll get married, or I don't know. So we tried to do that, and I got Loghain on my party, and then Enora becomes queen, and then Enora wants to kill Alistair, and so I have to stop her from doing that, and he runs off, and then the ending, and when he leaves, is that, like, many years in the future, he's some drunk in a bar talking about how he used to be a Grey Warden and should have been king. And I was like, that's an awful ending. Like, I didn't want that for Alistair. And instead, I have Loghain on my party who's an asshole. And, like,
Yeah.
I got the dialogue options, and I got to talk to him, and, like, it fleshes out his character a lot more, but it's not the way I wanted the game to end.
Yeah, I had a similar dilemma. I came to the point where I beat Loghain, and I was also going to put Alistair on the throne, despite his protests. But, when he says, when you get the option of sparing Loghain's life, and at the time, I thought that would be the right choice, turning him into a Grey Warden, that whole process might kill him,
Right.
which I thought would be fair if he was really that bad. And they do a good job of explaining why Loghain does what he does. He's sort of, he's almost like a paranoid nationalist kind of guy.
Right.
He's
a Republican.
He's not just a moustache twirler. But, when that moment came, and just the combination of the writing and the acting, kind of, Alistair says something like, you're already putting me on the throne, which is horrible, and I hate it. Why are you doing this to me? But now you want to let this guy live. And then that's where I changed my mind. I said, okay, you know what? Fine, kill him. I'm losing out on a party member, but at least you won't be mad at me.
Who did you have kill him, though? You can kill him, or you can have Alistair kill him. I'm not sure if there were other choices.
Well, I
do it.
beat him in the fight. If you tell Alistair to fight Loghain, like Loghain will die regardless. But there was some debate about whether, like, I could choose whether Loghain lived or died, and I let Alistair kill him, even though I thought it was wrong.
That decision of who you let kill him actually has an effect too, because Travis, my brother Travis, who I live with, we both played, and we both killed Loghain, but I did it in my game, and Travis had Alistair do it in his game. And if you have Alistair do it, then Enora, was that who you said, the queen, Enora,
Right, Enora.
wouldn't marry Alistair.
Exactly, that's what happened with me. She said no ways, because he just killed this guy. He just killed her father. So obviously,
but I killed him.
Marriage is off.
I killed him in my game, and she was, she was down. She was down with the marriage.
Did anybody? I went into the lands meet. I was actually kind of unsatisfied with the vote because I felt like I had done everything that I could do to try to win people over to Team Justin, and yet all of a sudden there were all these people who didn't like me, that preferred Loghain, and I hadn't run into any of them. And like, I didn't rush through anything. Like, I felt like I did a pretty much all the side quests. So I don't know exactly what more I could have done with.
It was weird. Some of those side quests were really small, and they were dropped way at the end of the game. Like, just before Lands Meet, I feel like there was 2 or 3 of them, and some of them were really insignificant.
You rescue someone in a dungeon, like at the last minute.
Right.
Someone whose father is involved in the voting process.
Yeah, and then you rescue a guy during the whole dwarf thing. There's a family whose father is in the deep roads, and you have to get him and prove to him that they're voting differently or something like that. And then he's there. There's like I can't remember anymore. But there's a bunch that are relatively insignificant, like rescuing the guy in the dungeon. You could have just missed that room, and then boom, you don't find that guy.
There was also someone who you can talk to, and you find out what's happened to them, but then during the actual lands meet process, you have to say a specific thing that's relevant to him. And
that's the guy from the southern region.
Yeah, the guy whose lands were destroyed, and you can say something like, well, do you want more lands in the south to be destroyed? And so he gets behind you for that.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of decisions that kind of culminate in that scene that it seemed really hard to kind of predict or to manage properly. So I did 2 playthroughs of it, and obviously I was unhappy with my second one, but I just wanted to finish
But Justin, didn't something happen with Honora with you? Something I can't remember what you were telling me.
She turned on me in the lands meet. She flipped.
Me too. Because I think I talked to her. If I talked to her one more time, then it wouldn't have happened. But I